morning guys, welcome back to the channel. So today on the channel we're going to be taking another look at the Vixen short in T2 and adding a couple of mods to it. So I'm just going to get you set up on the tripod and we'll be right back. So welcome back to the channel guys. I know it's been a little while, but today I'm going to be fitting a couple of things to the AGT Vixen. Now the first thing I'm going to show you is the extended Picatinny rail from Eaglevision. Now I know a lot of people fit the Sabre tactical rails, but they are very expensive, and I've used Eaglevision bits and pieces for a long time now. Masood makes some really good quality items for a reasonable price. So what you can see here is from him, and this is the 4-inch extender rail which fits on to the Picatinny rail on the gun. So we'll fit that in a little while. So as you can see from this part of the video, I've got my bipod attached to the Picatinny rail, which is attached to the underneath of the gun. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the bipod off, attach the other rail, put the bipod back on. So I'll put the gun on its side, it's unloaded, it's uncocked. So to take off the bipod that I'm using here, it's just literally a case of taking that lever forward and the bipod lifts off. So that's very easy to do. So I'm going to put the gun back on a rest, stop it from falling over while I get the equipment. So here is a close-up of the Picatinny extender rail from Eaglevision, as you can see there on there. So it's a very well made piece of kit, so I'll fit that in a little while. So in addition to the rail, you also get supplied by Masood an insert. It screws in to your rail, and then you can clip your Harris style bipod into any position you would like. So that just screws in there, which is very good. You also get a spare stainless steel securing bolt. I think they are 4 thread on there, and you also get a rubber pad, double-sided tape on there. I'm not quite sure what that's for, possibly to go underneath there. So that's a nice little extra touch so you could fit any particular bipod. My bipod that I use from Air Force One has got the clamp on the side, but I do have a Harris bipod, so that's very handy if I needed to fit or wanted to fit the Harris bipod to it. A nice little extra touch. So you can take your bipod and attach it in whatever position you want, like so. And that is that one done. And that just gives you a little bit of extra reach on here. The bipod sits a bit farther forward. Doesn't add very much weight onto the weight of the gun, but I think you'll agree there it's a very nice addition to the Vixen. Just nip those 2 bolts up and we're done. So in addition to that, what's in the box, I hear you asking. So this is a company called OutGun, and I saw these on a YouTube video and I thought, oh, that's a really nice gauge. Now I've had my AGT Vixen for just over 2 years now, and it's the glass on the top of the gauge has got a very slight crack in it. I have contacted AGT and they did send me a replacement gauge, but as soon as I saw this gauge, and I'll show it to you in a minute, I thought that's going to be a really nice little addition to the Vixen. It's not that expensive, so I'm just going to take it out of the box, show you what's in the box, and then we'll actually get it fitted to the gun. So here we have now the OutGun Digital gauge. I've gone for the 25mm OLED display gauge. So I'm going to do a bit of an unboxing video for you now. So it's a nice little metal presentation box. Now in here you have your instruction manual. Very clear and concise. What you would actually need to do when fitting the gauge, and step-by-step diagrams as well. So that's very good, very easy to follow. So the next thing, you've got some foam padding, which is nice. Let's take this out. So the gauge itself sits in its own foam cell, which is very nice, and there's the gauge itself. Turn around so that you can see. And you press and hold down, it will give you the battery status. And you can cycle between your PSI and your bar settings as well. So I'll pop that one back in there at the moment. And then another piece of padding in there. And in the bottom, you've got your USB cable, slightly different. It's a magnetic mount that actually attaches to the gauge like so, and then you put that into a socket as usual. So that's quite nice. And also, in addition, you have 3 spacers and O-rings that would fit onto the gun. So that's what comes in the box. I'll just put this back and then I'll show you another look at the gauge. It's a very good quality gauge. It's anodized aluminium. It's got flat node around the edge, and I don't know if you can pick it up. You've got some information on the back of the gauge there. OutGun 124000056. I'm guessing that's the model number. And the gauge itself, the cover, it comes with a little plastic screen there. You can see, hopefully you saw that. So that's the gauge turned off at the moment. Turn it on, you can see your PSI setting there. If you press and hold, you go to your battery setting, and you can also change it to your bar setting as well. So for the next part of the video, guys, what you're going to need is a 2mm Allen key to release the air pressure screw on the side of the Vixen. And what I use as well, I've got a set of soft jaw Weha pliers, so I can actually nip up the new gauge when I fitted it. So they're not a cheap tool, but they are very well made, worth their weight in gold. They won't mark anything, so they're invaluable. So you could use normal softener, normal pliers or a spanner. Just make sure that you don't scratch the gauge when you do that. So I'm just going to turn the camera around, show you the port valve on the gun that we need to actually just release to bleed all the air out of the dive bottle, because you don't want to work on this with the air in the bottle, and you take the gauge off, it's going to expel all the air, so you don't want that. So what I'm going to do is turn you around, show you the bleed valve, crack that. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it venting the air, and when it's totally empty, I'll dry fire it a couple of times and then remove the gauge and bring you back and show you the fitting of the new one. So as you can see at the moment, if it will focus, I've just got under 200 bar in there. So what I need to do is, there's a tiny little Allen key here, a 2mm Allen key. Hopefully the camera will pick it up. And all we're going to do is just literally crack this one to the left until I hear the air starting to vent out, and I'm just going to let it vent out on its own. It doesn't need to be fully unwound, it's just literally crack it, so as soon as you hear the air escaping, you can leave it and then it will do its thing. So I'm going to put you back on the stand, bring this down there like so, and literally now, as you can hear there, that is escaping. So that was quite tight. So just a little turn, just so that it escapes there. You can hear it. And I'll bring you back when the gun is empty. And as you can see, it's venting slowly. I'm just under 100 bar now. So it's taking about 5 minutes or so. So I'll bring you back in a minute. So as you can see now, the gauge is virtually empty. There's still some coming out, so I'm just going to let it continue till it actually stops. As you can hear now, that's virtually all the air out of the cylinder, or the bottle I should say. Just before I do that, I'm just going to make sure that it's totally empty. And you can hear there's nothing, so I'm happy with that. So that's all the air expelled out of the bottle now. But before I take the gauge off, I'm going to do one more thing. So I'm just going to show you these. I've bought these from Lidl's. They are lens cleaning cloths for spectacles. So what I'm going to do before I take the old gauge off, I'm just going to clean around where the gauge sits so there's no dust or anything in the way there. So these are really, really good. They are individually wrapped and they're really cheap, so it's good to use. So I say pick those up, box of 50 from Lidl's. They are £1.50, well worth doing. So I'm going to bring you in close again. I'm going to wipe around there and then we'll take the gauge off. So as I said, before I take the gauge off, I'm just going to use this wet wipe. And I'm just going to wipe all around the top edge. Make sure there's no debris there. Because this rifle does get used, it's a hunting rifle, so there are a few bits of debris on there. You won't be able to see it, but I'm happy with that now. That's a lot cleaner. So I'm going to move the camera back a little bit and I'll bring in the adjustable pliers and we'll take off the old gauge before fitting the new one. Okay, so before I remove the old gauge here, I'm just going to retighten this grub screw, and it doesn't need to be overly tight. When you refill the gun, if you still hear the hissing sound, obviously you need to tighten that a little bit more. So with the adjustable spanners on there, just literally grip the gauge there and you can see it's already turning, hardly any pressure at all. So now, literally, and when I take it out, I'll try to show you the crack right across the front face of it. Whether I did it or whether it was like that when I bought the gun, I don't know, but I didn't notice it. And there's the gauge taken off. Now you've got a thick O-ring on there, so we'll have a look at that in a minute. Now I've read the instructions on the new gauge and they say if your O-ring that you take off is in good condition, reuse that. If it's not, replace it with one of theirs. So I'm just going to take that one off in a minute, have a look at it, and then we'll go from there. I think you can see there is the crack going all the way across there, which is really frustrating. Like I say, it never leaked, but you know it was there. So let's get this O-ring off, clean it up and fit the new gauge. So I've removed the O-ring and it's here. It looks to be in good condition, but what I'm going to do is actually just put a very, very slight grease of this moly coat just on the O-ring, just to retain its suppleness. So the moly coat is specifically designed for O-rings, as you can see on there. So I'm just going to put a little bit on there and then fit it to the new gauge and fit the new gauge into the rifle. So now taking the new gauge, just popping that O-ring over the edge there, like so, and that's sitting on there. Lovely. So I'm just going to actually now insert that one into the gun. So it's a little bit bigger than the AGT gauge it's replacing, but that's not a bad thing. I'm just tightening that up, hand tight. So the way that it's facing, I'll show you. It's not ideal. I'm going to look back at the manual and see if there's anything we can do about that. Okay, so unfortunately, looking at the paperwork for the gauge, for the replacement gauge, and looking at the O-rings supplied, I've got to use the original O-ring off of the AGT. The other ones seem to sit down in the chamber underneath where this locates into, so there's no O-ring in there. So unfortunately it's going to have to be whichever position it settles at, which is not ideal, but I can't odds that. So all I'm going to do is very gently just nip it up. It specifically says in there only use one O-ring, don't use any other O-rings. So that's the gauge fitted. It's at a slight angle, but I say I can't odds that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to regas the rifle and bring you back when it's all completed. Okay guys, so that's the gun supplied with air. I put it up to about 250 bar, and you can see there that it's 3,870 psi, so I'm more than happy with that. Morning guys, so welcome back. This is a couple of days later. I did the actual video footage on the Thursday, it's now the Saturday. Somehow the footage of me actually fitting the new extended Picatinny rail was misplaced or deleted. All it is basically is attaching the rail to the old Picatinny rail via the two supplied 4mm Allen key bolts from Masood at Eaglevision. So that's all that is. And in addition, I've set the gauge to the bar setting. Now you can continually press the button on the gauge and it will cycle between the bar or the PSI, and then shows you the battery level and also the duration that the gauge will, the display on the gauge will stay illuminated. So I've got it set to 30 seconds now. So I'm going to bring you in and just show you the bar setting on the rifle, and then I'll continue to edit the video. But again, thanks for watching. See you soon. So by pressing the gauge once, you'll see it comes up 240 bar, and then it's reading now 239 bar. I haven't really shot the rifle since refilling it, so I'll edit this into the video. I'll see you soon. Well guys, hope that was some help. As you can see, didn't take too long to actually do there. So if you do like the video, give me the thumbs up, the like and the subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Stay safe and shoot safe.